Hello, and welcome to your Saturn series. It is my honor to be coming to you guys today to talk to you about the planet Saturn in astrology. And what do you know? Here Saturn is right here. Oh, shoot. Hello, Saturn. So, yes, we have a hieroglyph. I don't know really what we would call this, but my little planet Saturn is with us here. So of course, I'm going to have a little intro video in the beginning of all these. Let's make sure I'm, Saturn material. And let me tell you, before these videos, woo, I can feel the Saturn energy. Like, I guess we'll just get talking about it, guys. So, well, just a little fun fact. I am actually, I would say, a pretty important advocate of Saturn because I have a Capricorn rising, so that makes me very Saturnian ruled. And also, I'm just going to mute my computer so we don't have any distractions. And I have Saturn on my sun. So in astrology, sometimes we will have planets conjunct certain signs, right? And so for me, I was just lucky enough to be born with my sun in Pisces at 14 degrees. And what do you know? Saturn at 14 degrees Pisces as well. So I just couldn't let Saturn change signs without me talking about how just fabulous he is, right, guys? So this is some channeled messages. I'm just going to be channeling today. I have some notes here, though. I do have some notes just so everything can stay structured and timely and things like that. So let's get into a little bit about what Saturn represents and stands for in astrology, and then we can get into what Saturn's most recent shift into Capricorn is going to be affecting you personally by your sign, your astrology sign. So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, right? Capricorn is the 10th house in astrology. So that has everything to do with our career, our legacies, our long distance goals. So I would say when it comes to career and when it comes to our long distance goals and when it comes to our legacies, that's a very serious, part of the chart. The 10th house is also our midheaven. So our midheaven in astrology is symbolic for, well, our career, of course, but more so the direction in life that we need to go. Okay, so it's interesting to compare the midheaven to the north node because the midheaven is kind of like a mini north node in our astrology charts. And according to the midheaven, you can determine what your astrological boss is because the 10th house is the house of bosses and authority figures. So when we talk about the 10th house, you guys, we're also talking about Saturn. We're also talking about Capricorn. These energies all go together. They all bounce from each other, So when we think of Capricorn and we think of the mountain goat and the sea goat and how ambitious these signs are, Capricorn is actually one of the most misunderstood zodiac signs. They're very, very mysterious. Very, very mysterious. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're ruled by such an interesting planet. And it's not only interesting, it's just everybody wants to avoid Saturn. Like, it's not nothing to play around with. Saturn gets a bad rep. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys in these videos. And this is just my opinion. There's a lot of different, oh yeah, I got my little Saturn necklace, you guys, if anybody just saw that. I wanted to really make this symbolic for us here today. So, as I was saying, I'm going to do my best to interpret Saturn. And, since I have Saturn on my sun and since I have a Capricorn rising, I'm very, very Saturnian ruled, and I'm going to do my best to explain the good, explain the bad, explain the pretty, the ugly, and everything in between. So, Saturn. We haven't even talked about the fact that Saturn is the lord of karma. Okay, so Saturn, when I think of Saturn, I think about karma. And it's interesting that Saturn has these rings, right, that go around it because what goes around comes around, right? And that is a famous saying that is related to karma. So, it's basically you reap what you sow, you know what I mean? And I'm a very, very advocate for that. I very much believe in that people, get what they deserve, whether it be good or bad. So yes, Lord of Karma, Saturn is, I like to think of Saturn as a military dad. So, and not just a military dad, but a very serious father figure, right? Saturn is a very serious planet. Everything has to be serious. Everything has to be constricted. So serious that I'm gonna put this incense out after I let you guys have a little bit of the energy, I guess. But yeah, anything like that. Like, for instance, when I first started to sit down to record these videos, my computer was updating. And I hate when my computer does that because it takes so long and I'm just on a time limit today. So I just sat here for, oh my God, it took so long for my computer to update. And it was so funny to me because I'm like, Saturn, what you doing, man? What are you doing? Like, I'm trying to record your videos, So, yeah, I felt that was kind of, I think everything's a sign. So that was just kind of funny, to go through that. So yes, very serious planet that rules restrictions. Saturn is all about limitations. Okay, these are the more harsher terms. Saturn is about rules, regulations, doing everything in a timely manner, right? Saturn, it's like amazing. Like, and if you think of Saturn, and then Capricorns are Saturnian ruled people. So, the Capricorns I know, very hardworking. I'm like, how did you clean your house, go to work, pick up your dog, mow the lawn, solve world hunger, and you look fabulous? Like, how do you do that? So, shout out to the Capricorns watching. It's your energy. And, I'm a Capricorn rising, so my spirit is Capricorn, and I come off like a Capricorn, but I'm a Pisces. So, that's just an energy there. But Capricorn sun signs, they work really hard, very ambitious people, all about their goals, and actually they're a lot about respect as well, right? So when you think of Saturn as well, you have to think of respect and authority, So when it comes to authority figures, which is anybody in a uniform, the military, police officers, anything like that, that would be a Saturnian ruled figure. And I think of Saturn as a military dad, to the point where you could clean your room spick and span, and Saturn will wipe his finger on the desk and see just a little bit of dirt. I actually do have dirt on my desk, so sorry, Saturn, but he'll be like, you do it again. It wasn't right. You did it 30 seconds later than I wanted. That's not right. Now, let's get in a little bit before my intro ends here. I wanted to end it on a more positive note, because Saturn, when you think of, and I know there's some of you watching who actually did grow up, some of us had authoritarian parents. I had an Aquarius mom, and that's so ironic because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also rules Capricorn. So I guess, guys, when we're talking about these videos, when we're listening to this video, when we're hearing these messages today, we want to think about Aquarius and Capricorn, right? So it's interesting that Saturn is most at home in the 10th house, legacy, career, long-term goals, and also in the 11th house, which is groups of people, right? There is karma involved in groups of people, our community, our humanitarian, what we do to serve our community and the groups of people we associate with. So there is karma involved in that as well. So as I was saying, some of you who are watching, you may have grown up with an authoritarian parent, and this doesn't have to be a Capricorn or Aquarius. This could be any parent, because we all have different energy, right? This could be any parent that was just really strict. So I think strict is a good word to call Saturn. So I'm going to put that here just so I can remember that. Strict. Saturn is really strict. And okay, we're going to get into the more positive here, because where I was going with that is that, at the time, when all these people are hard on us and, oh, clean it twice and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, at the time it fucking sucks. We grow to hate these people. Saturn is a pretty hated planet, unfortunately. But throughout life we find ourselves oddly thanking these people, right? And we hate it. We hate to admit that. But it's the people who showed us structure, the people who showed us limitations and responsibility and hard work ethic. It's like going to the military when you're talking about Saturn. And it's because Saturn symbolizes, and Saturn is aware of what you do now is going to come back around to you. So if you put in the hard work now, if you're responsible now, if you work hard now, whatever you do now, it's important because it's your then. Your now is your then. Your now is your later. And that's a very Saturnian energy. So it's important, that we have these energies, because a lot of planets, and I have to say it, Neptune is one of those planets that don't really have this kind of energy. Neptune's like, chill. It'll happen when it happens, like, just do it whatever you want. It's okay that you were an hour late. It was meant to be, like water signs and water planets are, I would say, they lack boundaries. Okay, I love water. I'm a water sign. I love water. I'm all about water. But water takes the shape of its container, right? Water takes the shape of its container. And that's my little water spell that I did for the Cancer moon there. But yeah, water if you pour water into a square container, the water is going to look square, right? Water is also reflecting. So, that's a whole different story there. That's my little joke there to tell you that there's some planets that every planet, here's how I'll say this. Every planet has its duty. Every planet has its job and its position and everything like that. It has what it stands for. Every planet is symbolic for something, right? Neptune, the dream world, fantasy, illusion sometimes, Well, Saturn is actually the opposite of what you would think when you think Jupiter. And that's interesting because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius comes right before Capricorn. So Jupiter, and even the symbols, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see the symbol it's kind of dark, so I won't show it there. But just go ahead and look up the Saturn symbol, and then you can look at the Jupiter symbol, and they're kind of inverted, like it's to show you how opposite these signs are. So Jupiter is basically the opposite of the planet Saturn. Jupiter is all about expanding. It's all about making, it's the biggest planet in our solar system. So it's about expansion. It's about the higher knowledge of things, the deeper meaning, broadening your intellect and your philosophy, your teaching, learning, all that kind of stuff right there. And I'm talking about that because Saturn just got out of Sagittarius. So, Saturn being in Sagittarius, that was a very oxymoron. That was a really push and pull energy because, well, I think Saturn, I can channel Saturn, and I feel like Saturn for the past 3 years actually took a break. Like, deuces, you guys can handle your own karma. I'm going in Sagittarius where I'm going to party and put my feet up. But when I come back in 2008, if you didn't do the things that I taught you, Saturn in Scorpio, if you didn't do the things I taught you, Saturn in Libra, boy, am I going to come down hard on you. And Saturn in Capricorn, this is home, okay? Saturn is home. He's in Capricorn. And it's interesting because in 3 years, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, Saturn is home. I would say Saturn is more home in Capricorn. This grounded, quick, on its feet energy. Capricorns, they don't care. They don't have, I'm not saying Capricorns don't feel, but they don't feel as much as a water sign does. Because let me tell you, sometimes if I don't feel good enough to do something, my Capricorn rising completely gets thrown to the side. It's like, I don't feel like it. The energy today is just a little bit rough. I don't really feel like it. And then that's my emotions. I make emotional decisions. Now, Saturn is at home in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius because those signs get shit done. They're responsible. Aquarius they're very futuristic thinking signs. So Saturn's all about your long-term goals. So it likes Aquarius. Aquarius thinks about the future. Aquarius is the star card where you're pouring from this end and you're pouring from that end. And it's interesting that Capricorn is the devil card, so that's a whole different story. I might have to do an entirely different video. Actually, I am doing kind of I'm going to be talking about the devil card and the real meaning of the devil card before Capricorn season ends. I'm going to do that a little bit towards the end of Capricorn season. That way I have a lot of energy to work with. But yeah, guys, Saturn. Okay, this is my intro video, trying to make it as structured as I can, but at the same time, I'm a Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn mix. So, this is just me being real. So I hope you're learning, and yeah, I think you'll learn more in the videos that are about your personal sign. So restrictions, limitations, boundaries. Well, but I would say boundaries is more of the positive side, right? That's why I went into that detail about water taking the shape of its glass, because water can lack boundaries sometimes. Water actually needs a foundation to have a shape, right? Water shapes us in astrology. So, you know, the good part about Saturn is that it teaches us self-control. It teaches us boundaries and limits and structure. You know, we do need those things in life, guys. So I'm glad that we have an energy in the universe that is an asshole enough to do that without caring about how we feel, right? Because sometimes we just have to get things done. This is our karma we're talking about here. When we're done with this realm, you know, we carry that with us. So Saturn is actually an energy that stays with us. Like, what do you think about this come around, go around thing? I love cycles. So Saturn works in a cycle, and it's a cycle that you create before, during, and after life. So Saturn's an energy. I feel like Saturn might be the first energy that you see when you pass on. Like, what'd you do? What'd you do with your life on Earth, huh? Did you do this? Did you do that? How long did it take you? Oh, well, you know that you're gonna have, like, the reason Saturn is so serious is because he knows that whatever you did, you will face again. So you want to just be woke. You wanna pay attention to the things that are going on around this time. You know, the karma that you're producing and designing for yourself, because we're all responsible for our own karma. And then we can get into the whole story about how you can actually affect other people's karma, which is, ooh, the karma for that is a beast. So Saturn is a very, very, very interesting energy, and I'm honored to talk to you guys today about what Saturn is going to be doing. So responsibilities, commitments, authority figures, teachers, it's a masculine energy. So Saturn actually rules our fathers. Saturn is discipline, and we talked about Saturn being rules and regulation. So that is all the hard facts about Saturn. I really just kind of want to, I have notes as well for the videos that I'll be doing for your guys' personal signs. I do want to channel a bit more though. I don't really like this structured energy, you know. It makes me feel like, okay, let's check that off, when really I just do better when I flow. Okay, so just hang in there with me, guys. You're gonna feel the Saturnian energy in me a little bit, but you're also gonna see it in that creative Pisces way, and then I'm gonna ground everything with my Taurus moon. Okay, so this is my Saturn series. My intro video is way longer than what I wanted it to be. Sorry, Saturn. All right, so just learn through me that Saturn low-key secretly understands that nothing's perfect, right? Perfection is Virgo, right? Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign. Perfection is Virgo. So Capricorn secretly knows that things can't always be perfect, guys. Okay, it's just about doing your best. Okay, it's about doing your absolute best. Work hard, play hard, things like that. The balance between work and play. It's about it's about taking yourself seriously. Okay, that's what this energy is about. So as long as you do that, and if you don't fall into that, oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do that good enough, trust me, I'm already doing it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I need the material first. So keep this in mind, guys, that when you're doing a project or when you're doing anything that needs structure or boundaries or things like that, get it there first, do it first, and then let Saturn come in and teach you, oh, well, this was too long. You talk too long about this, that. Saturn will let you know everything that is not up to par. Okay, so let's get into your personal readings, and we will see what Saturn is doing in your astrology sign. All right, guys, I'll see you in the other videos. See ya. Hey Aquarius, this is Pisces Priestess, here to talk to you about Saturn in its recent shift into your 12th house. Very excited to talk to you guys about your 12th house because I'm a Pisces and I love the 12th house. Very interesting energies there. So I've taken a few notes and basically going to be talking to you about what I think Saturn can be influencing you with over the next 3 years. Saturn is a very slow moving planet. So Saturn takes 3 years in each sign, moving very slowly and seriously throughout the zodiac. Now, since Saturn is in your 12th house, we're going to talk a little bit about the 12th house. It's the subconscious house This is the house of spirituality. Now, it's interesting because Aquarius just got out of Saturn being in their 11th house, and you guys are the 11th house. And now Pisces, which is the video I'm going to be doing next, is experiencing the 12th house Saturn. So it's interesting. If Aquarius wants to understand what's going on, they should talk to a Pisces. And if a Pisces wants to understand what's going on, they should talk to an Aquarius. So very, very interesting there that you guys had Saturn in your 11th house. So that energy was manifesting over the last 3 years. And now we're going to talk about what we can expect in the next 3 years with Saturn in this new position of your subconscious and spirituality, spiritual karma. So I do believe, because Saturn is the Lord of karma, okay? So when I speak to people about Saturn, I always keep karma in mind. Wherever Saturn is in your chart, you can kind of assume that you have some karma there coming with that Saturn. We have the little Saturn planet here with us to kind of get that Saturnian energy. And another thing, Aquarius, is that Saturn is actually your ruling planet. You are ruled by Uranus, but traditionally you're ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is very comfortable in Capricorn and very comfortable in Aquarius. And I would say that that means Saturn would be very comfortable in the 10th house and the 11th house. So for the last 3 years, you had Saturn in a very comfortable spot. He's comfortable in the 11th house, and now he's comfortable in Capricorn. But that is your 12th house. And Saturn is pretty foreign to the 12th house. We're going to get into some of the interesting points here. So karma. This can be karmic dreams. Some of the dreams that you guys may have, whether they're daydreams or dreams you have at night, or the dreams that you have for your life, is going to be karmic. And to me, karma is just a law. It's a law in the universe that basically says the energy that you put out belongs to you, and therefore it will return to you. So this can be good and bad. If you let out a bunch of bad energy, you know, bad energy is going to come back to you. And I love that. I think people should get what's coming to them, whether it's good or bad. You know, what goes around comes around. And that could be because I'm a very Saturnian person. I've always believed in karma. I always believe that there's a direct cause and effect for something. So for you, Aquarius, this is direct cause and effect with your intuition and your dreams. You know, you want to research the 12th house to really understand how karma can manifest in that kind of position. So let's see. Saturn actually loses its boundaries in the 12th house. Very interesting, Aquarius. Almost called you Capricorn. Saturn loses its boundaries. Why is this? Well, because the 12th house is ruled by mysterious Pisces, right? Pisces, I am a Pisces. Pisces struggle with boundaries. We just want everyone to connect. We want everyone to swim in our ocean. We don't turn even the nastiest, meanest people away because they need our waters, right? They need healing the most. So just like you, Aquarius, and that's why Aquarius and Pisces are close to each other on the wheel, because we're all about bringing things to a close. It's interesting. I kind of got chills here because it's very serious, Aquarius, that what time it is. Not the actual time, but it's the 11th today. And coming soon, next week, the sun will enter Aquarius. Now, I've always gotten a very waking up feeling in Aquarius season. It's because we're coming up on the last little bit of this zodiac wheel. Like, I know we've experienced the new year, but the new year doesn't truly come until Aries season on March 20th. So in a way, Aquarius and Pisces they make no sense. You know, it's the aliens in the basically the dream realm fantasy, and that doesn't make sense to this logical realm. This Capricorn energy is the last little bit of logic that we get for a couple of months. And you know, Pisces and Aquarius, they get each other because they're what closes the zodiac wheel out. Without Aquarius and Pisces, the zodiac wheel isn't complete, right? And Aquarius pours that water that the Pisces is even able to swim in. So you guys are my 12th house. So when Saturn is in Aquarius, that is my 12th house. But Saturn is in Capricorn, which is Aquarius. So Capricorn is the subconscious of Aquarius. They are the 12th house of you. So since Saturn is here, it's going to really, you know, Saturn has everything to do with overcoming limits. It has everything to do with insecurities and fears and worries and obstacles. Saturn is very serious. Saturn is the Lord of karma, if I haven't mentioned that. He has everything to do with boundaries and restrictions and limits. So, you know, as I was saying, Saturn loses its boundaries in the 12th house because The 12th house is very, very, very transformative. It's very lucrative, or it's very, very watery. It doesn't quite make sense in the logical realm. So Saturn, I would not say Saturn is super comfortable. Saturn is in the 10th house and the 11th house traditionally. He kind of disappears in the 12th house where Neptune comes in. Neptune is not a boundary planet. Pisces is not a boundary energy. 12th house is not a place for boundaries. It's a place to release your boundaries. So this is kind of interesting, Aquarius. You may have this kind of push and pull there with that, but just know that it's going to manifest in a way of very magical things like your intuition and your dreams and your spirituality and your imagination, right? So you want to be careful there not to allow Saturn to place restrictions and boundaries on your intuition. Saturn wants everyone to be realistic. Saturn wants everyone to work hard and create boundaries and be this authoritative figure. But when Saturn moves into the 12th house, the individual that is experiencing that is supposed to let their boundaries go, you know, and that's a very interesting thing there, because Saturn enforces boundaries, whereas the 12th house removes them. So it's very interesting. So Saturn teaches you to be disciplined spiritually in the 12th house. So how does someone how can someone, you know, be disciplined and spiritual at the same time? Well, the way that I think this can manifest, and there's a lot of you watching, so this can be lots of different ways, but this is just about, you know, being disciplined spiritually, or it's spiritual authority. So for me, I think this would be like daily meditation, saying, all right, you know, I'm an Aquarius and I really want to connect spiritually, and I really haven't had the opportunity. So I'm going to get very disciplined and structured when it comes to my spirituality. I'm going to meditate daily at 5 o'clock. I'm going to get a book and write down my dreams, because I always forget. You know, so that's how someone can become disciplined spiritually. Now, another thing that I have here is giving up responsibility for spirituality. Now, Aquarius, you guys are very responsible individuals, but over the next 3 years, you may move away from the responsibilities you have in life in order for a more spiritual. This reminds me of the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups card it shows a man moving out into the mountains and these cups left behind. And when I see that card, I see someone who's given up on the materialistic world in order to reach a more guru-like life. I see Aquarius really zenning out for the next 3 years. You know, Saturn is really going to offer you some spiritual karma here. And it's going to really help for you to apply more authority in your spirituality and more discipline in your spirituality. Become more serious about your spirituality, because it's time, Aquarius. This is your calling now. On the zodiac wheel is speaking to this here, with Aquarius having Saturn in their 12th house. So giving up responsibility for spirituality. Spiritual responsibility, becoming, you know, thinking, you know, yeah, I know I have these responsibilities. Saturn's all about responsibilities, right? We all have our own responsibilities. Well, Aquarius is gonna, I see you guys getting more serious about that in the next 3 years. Things coming in and out of your life that push you towards a more spiritual path. I think that's beautiful, and it's because I'm a Pisces. I would love for more spiritual Aquariuses to come out of the woodworks, because you guys are very spiritual people, very emotional people, just very intellectual at the same time. So that's a good mixture of energies there to kind of relate to this transit. Now, since the 12th house is all about subconscious, and since Saturn is about karma, this could be subconscious karma. Capricorns just went through this when Saturn was in Sagittarius. That was their 12th house. So you may want to talk to a Capricorn as well about the energy they've experienced over the last 3 years. See, I'm not really sure how it would feel to deal with subconscious karma. Now, I will share with you that my 12th house is Sagittarius in my natal chart. And when Saturn was in Sagittarius for the last 3 years, that technically means that Saturn was in my 12th house. And let me tell you, this last year, I have really stepped up my spiritual game. This was the year when Saturn was in Sagittarius. I got my YouTube channel, this channel you're watching now. I started to read tarot. I started to get into birth charts, and I got way more into astrology. So that's just, you know, I was thinking about this, about your video, and about how I needed to share with you my experience with Saturn in my 12th house the last 3 years. And it was quite enlightening. I believe a lot of you are going to experience enlightening karma. it's kind of, this is karma. This is, Saturn's going to be a lot softer to you, especially to the Aquariuses who open up to the more spiritual elements of life, who open up to the more, you know, be more embracive to what you can't see. Seeing is not believing when Saturn is in your 12th house. Subconscious karma. So Saturn does rule fears and anxieties and worries, because he comes with a great weight of responsibility. And some of us respond to this overwhelming responsibility in a way of worry, like, will I get all this done? Am I working hard enough? This is insecure, this is fears. I'm afraid that I won't get all this work done. Well, since this is your 12th house, these fears can manifest in your subconscious. So even even more so important for you guys to be meditating and, you know, doing some sort of creative spiritual, because Pisces, the house of the 12, is very, very creative as well. So you want to express these fears and anxieties that you have over the next 3 years in a way that you release them from your subconscious, because we have a lot of gunk that stays in our subconscious. You know, sometimes our subconscious can be filled with these fears. It can be, and when you're an intellectual person, or when you're a person of intellect, you know, it's not always the logical or smart thing to express your fears, right? You don't want to just give away your vulnerabilities. But at the same time, Aquarius, you need to find some sort of intellectual way to creatively express or creatively project your fears out instead of them just swimming around in your subconscious, because this can take a really bad toll on your subconscious. Fears and worries, you know, you don't want them in here. You definitely want to release them out into the universe through meditation or prayer or spirituality or creativity, something like that. So, you know, this is very much subconscious karma. So what do I mean by that? You may just be thinking a lot about your karma. You may be thinking a lot about what's going to come around back to you. You know, have I worked hard enough? Am I responsible enough? You know, but you want to make sure you're just asking yourself that and answering, not continuously just beating yourself up or wondering that's going to be a very like negative subconscious pool, you know, and that's not good. Now, okay, here. You may, since this, you know, with this information, what I wrote down here for you, it may manifest in a way where Aquarius takes on this more of a spiritual teaching role, right? We are in desperate need of spiritual teachers. And since Saturn rules authority and teacher figures, military, police, you know, I believe that in the 12th house, Saturn can manifest in a spiritual teacher. So Saturn may become your spiritual teacher, or Aquarius may become the spiritual teacher for themselves. This is going to be quite spiritual for you guys, right? You're going to be experiencing energy coming back to you that is very spiritually moving and enlightening. So this is spiritual authority once again. And I wrote here Tai Chi. I'm not sure if that means anything to you, but Tai Chi is a perfect balance of authority and spirituality, because it works with energies and it works with defense. So Saturn can definitely manifest in Tai Chi or some sort of spiritual, something that involves both authority and spirituality. This could even be healing in a certain sense, or it could even be therapy. So I'm not sure how this is going to manifest for each and every one of you, but these are just the general ideas that I have here with mixing spirituality and authority. Okay, Aquarius? And you guys understand now. You guys are the water bearer, so you pour water from here, you pour water from there. So it's kind of like Sag in a way, where you're moderating things. Now another thing is the 12th house is all about sacrifice. Remember I talked to you about the 12th house and the 11th house, Pisces and Aquarius, closing out the zodiac wheel, right? Well, once you reach the 12th house, it's kind of the end. But if there's anything that I know about Pisces, it's that they symbolize the end and the beginning, right? And if you think about it, we're always subconsciously ending and beginning things, right? Whether we know it or not. So with karma here, with Saturn here restricting that area, Pisces has a lot to do with sacrifice, because you have to sacrifice everything to the 12th house. You have to give in completely to your subconscious in order to pass through that realm and be born again in Aries, right? So I have a note here that says sacrifice. So if you're gonna sacrifice, because that's kind of an intense word, right? What am I sacrificing? You know, what do you mean? Well, I think that you should sacrifice your fears and your doubts and certain boundaries that no longer fit you. Maybe you'll sacrifice certain parts of yourself that are no longer of authority. But there is a great focus here on sacrificing and releasing your fears and doubts. Another thing is you guys over the next 3 years could experience karmic creativity, which I think is just a really pretty way to say that you may all of a sudden take an interest in music or arts, or take a greater interest in music and art, in anything creative, right? And what I just thought of here with the authority thing is that you may be an artist who've had some sort of dictator over you before, whereas now you're going to really step up and be your own boss, creatively wise. And people may be looking at Aquarius over the next 3 years like, what's going on? I mean, they always look at you like that, Aquarius, because you guys are very alien-like. You know, you have a futuristic way of doing things, and you surpass the rest of certain people who aren't really on the train there. You know, they're not with the program, is what I want to say. So this can even be more intense, and now it's going to be spiritual. A lot of Aquariuses, they're very logical, very intellectual, and secretly, you know, I know a lot of Aquariuses who are interested in spirituality, but it's not necessarily an everyday attribute to your life. And if it is, you don't, you know, you guys are the 11th house, and for some reason you guys aren't connected with very many spiritual people. I don't really know very many spiritual Aquariuses, but I really hope that after this transit there are many more Aquariuses that come out, you know, and create some sort of intellectual spirituality, you know, so that it does make sense to you, but so that it does awaken certain emotions and spiritual essence within you as well. So this is very much about taking responsibility for your spiritual path, right? Understanding Saturn in a spiritual way, which is quite the task, right? I have Saturn in Pisces. And this is something that you can research in order to understand Saturn in the 12th house. So I very much relate to this. And any of you can feel free to contact me if you have any questions after this video, because I understand what you've went through when Saturn was in your 11th house, and I also understand what it means to have Pisces Saturn. So this is everything to do with spirituality. Some of you are going to find yourself in very spiritual surroundings, and it's because Saturn is pulling you there because you were always meant to be there. I believe our karma was written in another life, but long before we even had our physical vessels. I believe that our karma was written and that we just carried it here. Sometimes things happen inevitably. In other words, they happen in a way where they were always going to happen. It's almost as if they already did happen, and that's why Saturn has these kind of rings to symbolize what goes around comes around, right? What goes around what goes around comes around. And sometimes it falls off. Yeah, that's interesting there. I'm not sure what that might have meant, but sorry, Saturn. So there may be some sort of work that you need to do. It may fall apart or something like that, but what goes around comes around, and sometimes it falls off. Whatever that may mean. We'll leave Saturn alone for now. He's been showing himself in a lot of videos today. He's probably like, hey, let's get more serious. But anyway, yeah, this is understanding Saturn in a spiritual way. And as I was talking about karma and things like that, that was hilarious. You know, I believe our karma is kind of inevitable. You know, it really is. And some things are just meant to happen. And, you know, you want to take a look at where Saturn is specifically in your chart, and where Saturn is. It's always important to know where Saturn is. And it's very important that we've just recently went through this shift. Like, everyone is experiencing Saturn in a different way now that Saturn is in Capricorn. And since it's in Capricorn, he's comfortable there. And in 3 years, he'll go into Aquarius, and he's comfortable there. And then he'll go into Pisces, which is going to be completely transforming for everyone. Very strange times are upon us, Aquarius, and the energies about are very strange as well. And I feel that you guys have a very serious spiritual responsibility now. I do hope that you guys handle this with integrity. And I just wanted to voice to you that I do feel within this energy that Aquarius is meant to rise up and meant to take on this spiritual responsibility in a very strong way. So, you know, as the aliens of the zodiac, you guys know certain things. You know, you have certain ideas about the future. And it's time for you guys to come out as spiritual teachers to teach the rest of us these ideas that you have. You are the 11th house. Just as Pisces wants to connect us all, Aquarius does connect us all. Aquarius, you're ruled by Uranus. You're not afraid to be weird, right? Embrace that Uranian energy and be who you are. Speak out about tarot. Speak out about astrology. Share messages. Connect with as many people as you can, because that's what we're lacking in the world. And I believe that we're just coming up on a time in life where these shifts are going to really help the majority of us connect. You know, me and you right now, and in spiritual communities everywhere, connecting as one, and being stronger than the force that opposes, right? So this is that kind of responsibility that I mean in a spiritual way. This is taking responsibility for your spiritual path, Aquarius. Have you thought much about that? You know, we have a life path, we have a career path, but we have a spiritual path as well. And I, as a Pisces, know that our spiritual paths are very, very important, because we are destined to walk these paths. And I just wanted to mention here that you are the South Node, Aquarius. And the South Node is all about learning from that energy. We're learning from that energy so that we can move towards the next step, which would be Leo. But before we can learn Leo, we have to learn from Aquarius. We had to learn this kind of humanitarian collective energy. You know, before we can be about ego, before we can be about self, we have to be about others. And that's the typical Aquarius Leo opposition. So I believe, you know, it's very important. Now, oh my goodness, when the sun enters Aquarius, and I'm going to talk more about this in my January videos, but a lot of people don't understand that the sun is awareness, and it's going to move through Aquarius. So eventually the sun in a couple of weeks is going to be passing through and over the South Node. And what that basically means energetically is that we are going to be doing a tremendous amount of letting go and a tremendous amount of learning. So this Saturn 12th house is perfect for the energy that needs to take place. It's pushing Aquarius into that teacher position. Some of you may very well be teachers or police officers or some sort of, you know, authority. We all have authority. We all have authority. It's just about embracing that authority, right? And for you, it's about embracing that authority subconsciously and spiritually and creatively, intuitively, because it's all in divine timing. This was always meant to happen, Aquarius. It is time for you to embrace the meaning of the South Node. If you want to research that and really understand what it, because it's very important that the universe is choosing you right now. We all can learn and grow from Aquarius energy, from that kind of star-like energy, that alien, foreign, weird, strange vibration. It's very, very powerful. So I wanted to mention there that the South Node, you know, will also be activating here soon. Whereas before the South Node, the North Node has been activated. And the reason why the North Node gets, well, not always, but the reason why the North Node, I believe, is activated now was so that when the South Node is activated, we already have that energy to move towards. You know, it wouldn't really make sense to activate the South Node first. I don't think that ever happens, because even a couple years ago, Virgo, the sun goes into Virgo before it goes into Pisces, right? So that's an interesting thought there. Nonetheless, the South Node of Aquarius will be activating, and it's going to be time for you guys to release and let go of a lot of things. Interesting that sacrifice came up, because I do believe there'll be a sacrificial essence to these energies here. Letting go of what no longer serves you, letting go of what no longer, you know, reflects who you are, letting go and releasing of these fears and doubts, Aquarius. So very, very strange to explain Saturn in the 12th house. I've never really, you know, done something like this before. So I've done my best here. It's almost as if there's a haze over my eyes, and I can't see or speak logically to you right now. So I do hope that you were able to take some sort of intellect from this video. I would really appreciate it if you guys comment and let me know how helpful or whatever this was to you. I feel a very strange energy though. And I feel that Aquarius are very, very important to our universe right now. So it's time. It's time to get responsible. And it's time to get responsible in a rather foreign way, where even Saturn, you know, maybe that's why Saturn fell apart in your reading, because you're understanding Saturn in a spiritual way. You know, and the part that fell off was the rings around Saturn. And those are the cold rings of ice and dust. So there may be some things really coming out of the dust and some very rather cold things that surround you, Aquarius. And you never forget that you are ruled by Saturn as well. So, you know, you guys are just as much walking beings of karma as Capricorn is. So if you want to take a look at Google or YouTube and just, you know, do your own research about Saturn in Pisces or Saturn in the 12th house, you may be able to reach some sort of more typed out logical explanation of this. This was just my intuitive channeling of what I think may occur over the next 3 years for you guys. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. And of course, I'll have my email listed below and my social media for you to contact me, and you can always leave me a comment. I would love to talk spiritually with you guys about some of these karmic energies. But that's all I have for you right now. This was very general, Aquarius, very serious and structured, and I didn't want these videos to be super long. So other than that, I will talk to you more in your January videos. So keep a lookout for those. See you later, guys.